Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the reasons why North Korea remains one of the most isolated countries in the world, and it is truly a feat of baffling persistence. It's like that friend we all have who insists on only eating at the same gas station every day. You want help to stage an intervention with a plate of literally anything else, but the commitment to that level of sad existence is honestly kind of impressive. North Korea, officially the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, has been a subject of global fascination and concern for decades. It's a nation shrouded in secrecy, with limited access for outsiders and a heavily controlled flow of information both in and out. Now, you might be thinking, Lacey, isn't that just a tad dramatic? I mean, it can't be that bad, can it? Oh, my sweet summer children, buckle up. Because today we're peeling back the layers of this enigmatic state to understand the forces that keep it isolated. And trust me, it's a story filled with political maneuvering, ideological convictions, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned paranoia. Think of it like an episode of Hoarders, but with less clutter and significantly more nuclear weapons. Let's start with the obvious, shall we? North Korea is ruled by a dynasty, the Kim family, who have held on to power with an iron grip for over 70 years. And when I say iron grip, I'm not talking about some metaphorical, oh, he's got a strong personality kind of grip. I'm talking about the kind of grip that would make a vice grip blush. See, the Kim regime has gone to extraordinary lengths to maintain absolute control over every aspect of their citizens' lives. We're talking control over information, education, employment, even down to the haircuts people are allowed to have. It's basically a real-life version of The Truman Show, except with less whimsical product placement and significantly more forced labor camps. Now imagine you're Kim Jong-un, supreme leader and apparent connoisseur of oversized sunglasses and questionable haircuts. You've inherited this system of absolute control, and the last thing you want is for pesky outside ideas like democracy, freedom of speech, or God forbid, good taste to seep in and disrupt your whole authoritarian vibe. So what do? You build walls, not just physical walls, although they've got those too, but walls of information, walls of propaganda, walls of fear. You isolate your people to ensure they only see, hear, and believe what you want them to. Now, keeping a population isolated isn't just about building walls, it's about filling the space inside those walls with a very specific narrative. And this is where North Korea's state-sponsored propaganda machine really goes into overdrive. Imagine a news cycle where every story is about the unparalleled brilliance of the dear leader, the imminent threat posed by the evil American imperialists, and the glorious achievements of the North Korean people, all while conveniently ignoring things like widespread famine and a distinct lack of indoor plumbing. This relentless propaganda is used to instill a potent cocktail of nationalism, paranoia, and fear in the North Korean people. They're taught from birth that the outside world is a dangerous and hostile place, full of capitalist decadence and imperialist aggression. Think of it like a nationwide game of Red Rover, where the entire world is on the other side and they're all very, very mean. And at the heart of this propaganda blitz lies the Juche ideology, North Korea's homegrown brand of self-reliance. It's basically the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality taken to its illogical extreme. It's like trying to bake a cake using only the ingredients you can find in your backyard. Sure, you might be able to cobble something together, but it's probably not going to be pretty, and it definitely won't taste like cake. By promoting this narrative of self-reliance and demonizing the outside world, the regime creates a powerful justification for its isolation. It's a self-perpetuating cycle of fear and control that keeps the North Korean people in the dark and the Kim regime firmly in power. Chapter 3. Security concerns, the boy who cried Yankee. Now, you might be thinking, Lacey, isn't it a bit extreme to compare North Korea to a heavily armed episode of The Twilight Zone? And to that I say, have you met the United States? Because they haven't forgotten about that whole Korean War thing, and frankly, neither has North Korea. See, the Korean War, which ended in an armistice rather than a peace treaty, left the Korean peninsula in a perpetual state of tension. And North Korea, with its history of being invaded, occupied, and generally pushed around by larger powers, has developed something of a persecution complex. They see themselves as a small, defiant nation surrounded by hostile forces, constantly on the brink of attack. And to be fair, when your neighbors to the south are backed by the world's most powerful military, and you've got a bit of a reputation for lobbing test missiles into the sea, you're not exactly winning any friendliest neighbor awards. This siege mentality is a cornerstone of the regime's ideology and a key driver of its isolationist policies. By constantly reminding its people of the external threats they face, the regime justifies its massive military spending, tight control over information, and overall atmosphere of paranoia. It's like that friend who always brings pepper spray to a picnic. Sure, it's good to be prepared, but it does make it a little hard to relax and enjoy the potato salad. Chapter 4. Economic control. Juche, what were you smoking? Here's a fun fact for you. North Korea's economy is roughly the size of a mid-sized American city. You know, the kind with a Chili's and a struggling shopping mall. Yeah, that's about it. And while the regime might try to spin this as a victory for self-reliance, the reality is a bit more bleak. See, the North Korean economy is less of an economy and more of a carefully curated stage production designed to convince the audience that everything is fine. The government controls virtually all aspects of economic life, from what farmers grow to what factories produce. It's like a giant game of SimCity, except the mayor is a megalomaniac with a questionable haircut and a penchant for nuclear testing. Now, imagine you're a North Korean citizen who's only ever known this system. You've been told your entire life that your country is a beacon of socialist prosperity, even as your stomach rumbles from hunger and your shoes have holes in them. It's like being on a diet where the only food allowed is stale crackers and lukewarm water, but you're constantly being told it's the healthiest and most delicious food in the world. But here's the thing about information, it's like water, it always finds a way in. And the last thing the North Korean government wants is for its people to get a glimpse of how the rest of the world lives. Because once you've seen what a real economy looks like, it's awfully hard to go back to pretending that your government-issued ration of rice is the pinnacle of human achievement. Chapter 5. Human rights abuses. Don't talk, don't see, don't know. Now, we've covered a lot of ground here, from political control to economic stagnation, but it would be remiss of me not to address the elephant in the room, or rather the Gulag archipelago in the countryside. Because when it comes to human rights, North Korea has a record that would make even the most jaded dictator blush. We're talking about a country where criticizing the dear leader can land you and your entire family in a labor camp, where access to information is tightly controlled, and where public executions are used as a tool to instill fear in the population. It's like living in a giant open-air prison, where the guards are always watching and the walls have ears. Now, the North Korean government denies these abuses, of course. They claim that their citizens are happy, well-fed, and free to express themselves, as long as that expression is unwavering praise for the regime. It's like that friend who insists their relationship is perfectly healthy, even though everyone else can see the red flags from space. But the truth is, North Korea's human rights record is abysmal, and the regime's isolation is a deliberate strategy to keep these abuses hidden from the world. It's like trying to hide a dumpster fire behind a flimsy curtain. Sure, it might block the view, but the smell is going to give it away every time. Outro. North Korea, a country adrift. So, there you have it. North Korea's isolation is a complex issue with roots in history, ideology, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned paranoia. It's a country trapped in a self-imposed time warp where the Cold War never ended and the Kim dynasty reigns supreme. But as much as we might be tempted to dismiss North Korea as a bizarre and distant anomaly, it's important to remember that there are real people living under this regime. People who have been denied basic freedoms, subjected to unimaginable cruelty, and kept in the dark for generations. And while there are no easy answers when it comes to dealing with North Korea, understanding the reasons behind its isolation is a crucial first step, because only by confronting the truth about this secretive state can we hope to one day see a future where the Korean peninsula is no longer divided and the North Korean people are finally free. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. See you next time.